welcome to the Teachers Retirement System Fall 2019 Proxy Committee meeting. And maybe just for the record, so we have everyone's names. Present are
Susan Stein,
Thad McTeague,
Deborah Penny,
Valerie Buzzik,
Amna Khan,
Angela O'Connor,
John Edler,
Michael Garland,
John Dorsa,
and Susanna Vickers.
and if it works for everyone, we'll turn it over to Mike Garland from the Controller's Office to take us to the postseason report on the fiscal 2019 shareholder initiatives.
Great, thank you, Thad. So I distributed in advance a draft copy of the postseason report, and so the agenda item is to review and approve this, and then it will be circulated to the full board and also released to the public. So each fall, I think as a matter of policy, we come to report to you on the outcome of the 2019, the last year shareowner initiatives, and also to give you a high-level overview of the proxy voting for the last year. So, there's that you advance 2 slides. So, once we review the report, the Controller's Office will put a nice cover on it and release it. So we found a few minor things that need corrections, so it's still an evolving document. So certainly if there are any comments, let me know. Let me just go through some of the contents. Okay, next slide. So this is a high-level overview of the of the proxy voting. It shows how often we voted for directors, how often we voted for management say on pay vote, how often we voted for all management proposals, which includes things like bylaw changes or maybe mergers and acquisitions, and how often we voted for shareowner proposals. But over this covers 3,121 annual meetings during the fiscal year and 26,000 individual ballot items. And what strikes me is the numbers are often very consistent year to year. That's purely coincidental. And similarly, across all items, we voted with management about 74% of the time. So
why the drop off on the shareholder proposal? You know?
I don't know specifically. It's possible that some investors may have tried to get creative with shareowner proposals that went beyond our guidelines. I think the rule of thumb is often we tend to be very supportive of proposals that seek enhanced disclosure. We don't support proposals that are either overly prescriptive or may call on a company to cease a line of business. So Andrew and Amna, who spend much of their time voting proxies, any insights into what might have driven the decline?
I think a lot of withdrawal agreements too, as more and more proposals are getting withdrawn.
Right, but this would only be proposals that went to a vote.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it could be what you're saying is that the proposals that remained were because companies were more amenable to reaching settlements.
Maybe we had less shareholder proposals filed this year. So that's usually because we see a lot of social and environmental proposals are being withdrawn once you file a lot of engagement going on. So.
Although it's the ones that are withdrawn are typically the ones that are going to be more resonant and typically get big support from us and other investors.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on the proxy votes? And as you recall, all of the company-specific voting decisions are now available on the controller's website, and you can go in at any time and look at any individual vote. So I just want to transition to talking about the results of the shareowner proposal program for 2019. So last year, we submitted 58 proposals. When I say we, I mean TRS, and most of them are in collaboration with the other systems. So my use of we is TRS here. So 58 proposals to 57 portfolio because I think Charles Schwab, I think, was the company that received 2 different proposals. So we reached agreements on 72% of the proposals, which were withdrawn after companies agreed to take steps to implement the proposals. I'm trying to stay fairly high level here because I have a history of going too much specificity. So the issues on which we reached agreement were the proposals on board skills, experience, and diversity matrix, executive compensation clawback policies, disclosure of employee diversity, gender pay equity, and proxy access, which has been the signature issue for the system since the launch of the Boardroom Accountability Project. So 14 proposals went to a vote during the year, 2 of which received majority votes. So I'll come back to those once we get into executive session. So I just wanted to come back on proxy access, which is the major volume of proposals since the 2015 season. So this shows the uptake across the market in proxy access since New York City launched the Boardroom Accountability Project. Before we launched, there were 6 U.S. companies that had proxy access bylaws. Today we're up to 600, including more than 70% of the S&P 500. So we have directly engaged about 200 of that 600. I think it's fair to say that even the response across the market would not have happened absent the launch of New York City's initiative. So any questions on last year that I can pivot? We can go to executive session and I can talk about the prospective initiatives.
So I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session and discuss future initiatives.
Second. A second.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now in executive session.
Do we need a vote on the motion with respect to the season report?
Do we need to
Probably should
know?
have done that in public session. I think that's
Yeah, maybe you could do it when we come out.
Come on,
Yeah,
camera.
but
Yeah.
are we voting
Yeah.
on it?
No.
I think they're just they're noting
Accepting.
that. Are we?
You're,
I mean,
are we on?
Yeah, we're still on.
Okay.
Oh, so
So you're going into,
Well,
So-
before we go into executive session, may I ask, do we need a motion on the postseason report?
That's something we have to approve.
So I'll rescind my motion to go into executive session, and I'll make a motion that we adopt the postseason report that Mike just presented to the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We've adopted the report.
Thank you.
Okay. Now,
So-
Mr. Dorsey.
Yeah, so with that, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Penny, all in favor? We are now in executive session. Turn the heavy recap over to Susan.
Thank you, Thad. In executive session, we reviewed and recommended the presentation to the full board of the 2020 shareholder proposal plan. We affirmed our participation in several ongoing collaborative initiatives.
Thank you. Do we have any further business before the board today? If not, I believe a motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Great, thank you.